Good evening, happy stampers, and welcome to my makeup tools and techniques Thursday. Oh, it's crazy last night, but we have power. Our power came back on. It was flickering on and off for about 45 minutes. But this project tonight that I'm bringing to you is one on the longer side. So I didn't want to get too late last night, and so that's why I decided to do it tonight. I am just checking to make sure that I am on live. So let me check all my, oops. So it looks like I am on. So awesome. So welcome to my Facebook viewers. Make sure you give me hearts and thumbs up if you're liking what I'm bringing you, and make sure you're following my page so you get a notification every time I come live. And if you are a YouTube viewer, welcome to my channel, and make sure you subscribe and click on that little bell up there so you get notifications when I come on live. So, oh my gosh, what are we going to be doing tonight? Well, we have released early a bundle, and this is the All Together bundle, and it has a stamp set and coordinating dies that go with it, and then it has blends. You know, we have been waiting for blends in skin tones, and we got them. So we have 10 of them, and they are numbered 1 through 10, and I am looking for my chart, and I don't see it. I made a chart up so that you would see the different colors, and oh my gosh, in the scurrying about and stuff last night, it must have fallen out of my package. But anyways, this is right now available from February, right now through the end of May. And this is a nice little flyer. Here shows, whoops, which way we go. The 10 Stampin' Blends. Like I said, you get 10 of them. And what I have done is I have actually gone on the end and numbered them 1 through 10. Now, how did I decide what numbers to put on them? Well, they're all numbered from 1,000 down to, oh my gosh, it's this one here, 200. So 200 is 2, 100 is 1. So it goes from darker to the lightest color. Now we also have an ivory Stampin' Blend that you can use along with these. And I just am going to keep them in order from darkest to lightest. And you know, everybody's skin tones are a little bit different. So, you know, mix and match as you want to color with them. They're also great for animals, you guys, for doing some different techniques. I am going to be bringing oh, my hair looks like it's all over tonight. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. So anyways, those are going to be available in our new annual catalog when it comes all out also. So tonight we're going to use that, and I am going to be doing all the cutting and the scoring tonight right in front of you. So get your pen and paper and let's get started. Okay. So we are not going to be coloring with these tonight. I am going to actually be using the words from this stamp set and a Whisper White ink pad. We're going to be using our tear and tape and our fast fuse, our paper trimmer, this great frayed ribbon that is found in the mini catalog. I am loving this. And this is the black and white twine found in the annual catalog, which was part of the, I think, Pampered Pets or whatever, last year. Then we're using our classic matte dots. These are found also in our mini catalog, and they go from white to vanilla to gray to black. So we'll be using those. We're using our rounds and square brads. I was so happy to see these come back because we get to use those in tonight's project. And I am using some of the designer series paper. Now this designer series paper is all black and white. And there's patterns, it's double-sided. There's patterns on the front and the back. We're using this one. I love this one. It's polka dots, but it's got a texture look to it, like it's black and white burlap. This one here, yeah, I guess that's the only one. This paper is pretty thick. And so you're seeing all these patterns that it comes in. And I'm trying not to squish them back together because I want to flip them to the other side. I guess I should have fanned them out before I came on. Okay, then we're going to, I had them already last night. And then this is the back side. So as you can see, it's more patterns, some odd shaped circles, black and white, some more nature or natural leaves. I love this plaid also, and these hearts. And of course, your standard black and white stripes. And then this one that you can color like a rainbow. So what do you say? Let's get started here. I'm going to get my paper trimmer. And we're going to start out with our cardstock. Let me take my sweater off. It was cool down here when I got down here. And of course, as soon as I start stamping, I get warm. So we're going to move everything to the side. And we're going to start with our basic black. Now with our basic black, we're going to need 2 pieces. And we want them 8.5 by 5 3/8. So we're going to put it in here at the 5-inch. And 1, 2, 3/8. So it's just short of 5.5. And it's actually 2 lines from the 5.5. So we'll have this little strip left. Now we're going to need to turn these, and we want to score them at 1 inch. Okay, to be careful if you're using your paper trimmer, don't use the dark black. I actually recommend to people that you can use your bone folder for this and stick it down there and give it a good score if you want, or you can use your scoring blade, or you can use your embossing tip on your, you take your pick tool. So we're going to put it to the 1 inch mark and score on this side also. Okay, so we have those 2 ready. Now we need a base to put those on. And our base, we're going to keep our scraps. I have some scraps, sorry, of the basic black. Now this piece is, I'm using Poppy Parade, and this one is going to be a little bit larger. It's going to be a 1/4 inch larger. So it's going to be 5 5/8. So it's a 1/4 inch larger by 7 3/4. But you're going to say, but Judy, we had the other one 8.5. But you have to remember, we scored it at 1 inch. So that made it, it's going to make it 7.5 inches longer. So we need to pull our arm out for this and go to 7 3/4 and just cut that off. Okay, so we have those pieces. Now, I have these leftover pieces here. And what I want to do with that is I want to cut these at a 1/2 inch. So I've got that one there. Let me grab a scrap of Poppy Parade so I can cut a couple more. I might have some already that are a 1/2 inch. I just forgot to grab those out. Oh yes, I have some pieces here. So let me see what we have. This is actually a little bit bigger than a 1/2 inch. So we're just going to cut these down to be a 1/2 inch. We'll trim them to length a little bit later. So I want some pieces that are 1/2 inch. I want actually 4 pieces. So I have these scraps, and that's why I'm using these instead of cutting down. I could cut some 1/2 inch strips off of a larger strip, but since I have these in my scrap bin and they're long enough, that's the key. Okay, I've got this scrap here. We needed a 1/2 inch. Okay, so we've got 4 pieces that are a 1/2 inch, just multiple lengths right now. I suggest that they be at least 5 inches. Yep, and they're all at least 5 inches. So you have 4 of those. Okay, then I have our designer series paper. And what I want to do with that is I want to make a mat in this section that measures 7.5 by 5 3/8. So I know 5 3/8 minus 1/4 inch is 5 1/8. But I'm not sure if I want to cover, I don't want to cover this entire thing. So well, let's cut this after I cut my next piece. I then have some of our clear envelopes, and I'm taking one of them. And this measures 4.5, and I want to make a little pocket. And my pocket I want to be approximately this long, which is 3 3/4. So it's going to be 3 3/4. Okay, and we're just going to cut that on our paper trimmer. So that's 3 3/4 by 4.5. Okay, and this is going to set on top of this. So we want this a little bit bigger. And I'm thinking of leaving it 6 inches wide. And since we went 3.5 or 3 3/4 here, and it was 4.5 and we went to 6, we wanted 1.5 inches wider. So we're going to go to, I don't know if we need it quite that big. Let's see. We're going to just hold this on here, and I'd say let's go 1 inch wider because I want to see the pattern. And I have not made this with designer series paper, so 1 inch wider both ways. We can always trim it. So this is, once again, 3 3/4. So we want it at 5 inches, right? And the other way was 4.5 inches by 6 inches. So let's see how that's going to look on here. I think that's going to look awesome. So we're going to be matting that on there, and this is going to be matted on the inside. Okay, so we've got those. So what we're going to do next, put all our pieces to the side. And once again, you can do this in any colors you want, with any stamp set you want. I just thought that this would be an awesome stamp set to do and give my granddaughter, for her to put some pictures of her and her friends in there. Okay, let's grab our stamp set. And we've got this here together. And I wanted to use this You Matter to Me. You could also use I Promise. You could use anything. You could use just this design here. We may use some hearts. So the You Matter to Me, you'll notice that I have some stamps out of here. I have things packed for a class. So let's put these on here. And I am going to want to emboss this. You wouldn't have to emboss this. You could just use the white ink if you wanted. But yeah, I want to use the white embossing powder. Let me grab it out. Let me see this one right here. Okay, so we have this. I'm going to wipe it down just around the edges with my embossing buddy. I want to put this on to my front. I want to make sure that I have enough room to stamp this down both sides, which I do. I am using our all-purpose liquid glue for this. I want to make sure that this stays on really good. I'm going to show you in the end of this video an album I made just like this when I first became a demonstrator. And it was a class, and we were making them for, I actually did a kids class, a mommy and me class, and we did albums like this so the kids could put their pictures from their class that year in there. So I'm going to show you that. We used a stamp set called, I think, Crayon Kids. We used the wheel because that was easiest for the kids. Okay, so we have that. So I'm going to go ahead again and wipe it down again with my embossing buddy because I'm going to put these down the edges. Now, you could decide, I'm only going to put it down the one edge. This edge we have something for. You can decide which way. If you want them, the words facing towards the center or towards the outside. I want them facing out. So I'm going to stamp it this way, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times. And you're going to say, why 3 times? Because I know I can get 3 of these on this page here onto my card stack. Let me plug in my heat tool. I forgot to do that. Okay. So we're all ready to get this going. Now, I am using our white craft ink. You could use Versamark for this. I like the white craft ink because I can see what I'm stamping. So we're going to ink this up, get up really good. And I'm going to stamp 1 on each side. And I may not have enough for 3 now that I see this. So we may put something else in the middle. And that's okay. Let's dump our embossing powder on here. Okay. I'm just going to dump it onto this Poppy Parade. And I did get a little bit towards the outside here, so we'll take that off. Oh, I don't have my little brush. I always have a little brush here when I do my embossing, just to knock that extra powder off. Okay, we're going to heat this, and it's going to get a little noisy for a minute. We're just going to hold it on there until it starts to melt, and then we'll move it up. Okay. Hi, Marilyn. How are you? Yes, this paper is so versatile. And I just noticed that I rubbed off a little bit here. Let me heat this up. And with it being black and white, oh my gosh, so many different uses. I could have used, instead of using red, I could have used pink. But my granddaughter does not, she despises pink. She loves blue. In fact, her favorite color is teal or Coastal Cabana. And I could have done that and she would have loved it. Okay, so we have that on there. Now we are going to put on our cut envelope. I may decide to put something else on there, but I think it'll be an embellishment. We're going to stick this in the middle here. Now, I am going to be covering the edges because I don't want to see that tape. We are using our tear and tape for this, because we want this to stick and we want it to stick good. So we're just going to make it the length of the envelope and just go all the way around because we want this to, once again, hold on there. Nice and straight. You need to make sure also that you rub this really good before you go to take it off because we are putting it on like a cellophane. So we want it to stick. Okay, and our last. Now our tear and tape, I love. You want to use this on your 3D items and anything that you definitely don't want to come apart. So I'm going to tell you, once it's on there. You could use, you're probably thinking, what about the liquid tape? You could use the liquid tape. However, if it squishes out of this, it wouldn't be very pretty. I'm just making sure that these are cut the same as the envelope and not too long. Okay, so I'm going to rub that really good. So I love using this tape on 3D items. It holds so well. Don't chintz out because you know this is going to get seen a lot. This is a great little album to put on your coffee table. If you go on a little trip and want to share that with friends, just stick it on your coffee table. And you know, you could do it in the colors of your living room, family room, bathroom even, and then do the insides to in colors for your pictures. Okay, now you remember we have an open end. So you want to make sure that you check that open end, and that's going to be the top. You want your score line to the left, and we are just going to put this on here as straight as we can. So line that up just like that and press. Okay. I even use my Stampin' Block for this. Sometimes I will use my bone folder, but I love the versatility of the Stampin' Blocks, and it just seems to work better. So that is going to be an opening that a picture can be put into on the front also. But we want, you really can't see those lines, but I want to make sure that you see this envelope. So what we're going to do here is we are going to mark that, and we're going to just snip it off. Now you could decide you want some fancy ends on it or just square it off. I am just squaring it off. I just figure that that is good. Oops. So I'm going to cut this. So we have the two ends, and I want those to stand up. So I am going to use some of our dimensionals. And you, once again, you want to make sure you have enough of these on here so it doesn't come off. So don't chintz out on this either, you guys. You know, this is one of those projects that's going to get opened and closed and seen a lot. Okay, let's get this on this side. So I'm going to put the two ends on first, but it really doesn't matter. You can put the top and the bottom on first if you want. It's totally up to you. You could go around in a circle with them. This is just the way I like to do it. Now I'm going to line this up so that it is just barely past the end of the envelope. It's not even a 16th. It's just barely past that because I do want my dimensionals to stick onto the designer series paper also. And let me see where that one ends. It's making sure that they're straight. Okay, now see how we're going to frame that out? So let's get our other piece. And look, it's long enough. So I am just going to make a tick mark on the end here. Just like that. And I'm just going to snip it. You don't have to worry about if it's perfectly straight. You can always add an embellishment on the corner if you want. In fact, that is where we are going to put our matte dots, is on those corners. Trim that one. We're going to do the same thing with this, is we're going to put some dimensionals on here. You know, looking at these dots, it reminds me of Disney World, right? Disneyland, Mickey Mouse. These are longer, so I'm putting 4 on these bands instead of only 3. So this would be a cute way to do an autograph book for your children, for your grandchildren, nieces and nephews, your favorite neighbor kids when they go to Disney World. You could input, instead of putting pictures on the inside, you could input some paper for them to get autographs. You know, I know that's a big thing, is getting the characters' autographs. And then later you could put some pictures. Now, this isn't a really thick album. I would not recommend making it too thick. I'm doing this just along the top, and I'm sticking right along the top of that envelope. So see, so how that will stick up here. I am going to, I may dab a little bit of glue in this corner. If it comes up like that, I recommend putting just a little bit of glue on it. That is going to get a lot of opening and closing to begin with while you fill it up. The bottom, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here. Okay, so that's our frame. And I'm seeing that that's not sticking real good. Did I even take, you know why it's not sticking? I didn't take the protective thing off of it. That's why it's not going to stick, right? So that is our cover so far. Let's get our embellishments here. And you could do these in different colors. You could, you know, whatever you want. Okay, I'm having trouble opening it. I am going to choose the black largest matte dot, and I'm going to put 1 on each corner. Oh, somehow that got off. Well, you know what? I didn't put this one on straight. Let's hope I can get this one off. You just lift it carefully, and we can get it off. You want to be careful because you don't want to rip your paper, your cardstock. Okay, let's get that one on there a little bit straighter. There we go. And for our last matte dot. So we're going with that theme. You could decorate it more if you want. You may not want to, though, once you see everything we're going to do. Okay, so we have our cover decorated. Now what we want to do is we want to fold this in. Okay, we're going to get the back, and we're going to do the same thing. Don't forget, you want to fold with the mountain in the middle. Okay, and this is what is going to be the actual album, and it's going to set on here just like that. Now, I did have 3 more envelopes. Whoops, they're sliding away on me. Okay, these are just our clear envelopes that are found in our annual catalog. And you can slide your pictures right inside there. So what we're going to do is we're not going to fold this over. We're actually going to take this one, and we want it to open to the back. You can decide if you want them to open to the back or to the front. I like them opening to the back. You're going to take this folded piece, and you're going to take your envelope, center it from the top and the bottom, or from side to side there, and I put my envelope so it just is barely inside that score line, okay? You're going to take another one. And like I said, I'm just doing 3. Here you could do up to 6, I believe. But I think it gets kind of bulky and these can tear. And that's why we are going to go ahead and remove this one. So as you can see, I'm just stacking them on top of one another, lining them up at the top. Another way you could do it is line them up at the bottom down here, just like that. Go up and then just press really hard. Now that we're going to put some brads through here, but that's going to help. Okay, so we have our back and now we have our front. So we're going to go ahead and take that just like that, and we're going to put some brads through here. I recommend doing 3 of them, and we are going to be covering it up a little bit. So you could, I'm looking for my punch. I put it back away last night. That's what happens. I want my skinny punch. There we go. So I'm going to look at it about towards the center here. And I'm going to put in 1 punch in the center. Okay. Hold it straight and just punch. Okay, I'm going to grab our brads and I'm just going to grab the black so that it blends in. We have different sizes here. I'm going to go for the small brad. Just stick it right in there. And I'll show you an easy way to open these. So you have it down like that. You can just take your pick tool, slide it down the legs, and it opens up. So easy, no problems. Okay, so now I am going to take a little piece of tear and tape here. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each end. And this is just going to help hold that a little bit better. You don't have to do this step, especially if you think you're going to take it apart and add or subtract from it. Oh, great. I just bent that up. Let me flatten that back down. There we go. I'm going to snip that off. I really bent that up. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and punch another hole. Nice and secure right here, about, an inch in. Grab another brad. Stick it through. Where's my take your pick tool? I'll tell you, I used to do this with our paper piercer, and it made so much easier, and I didn't poke my finger as much. I'm one of those that has a tendency of poking her fingers a lot with this stuff. So as you can see, that's a very small little dot there. Let me find another one. There we go. Now, if these were going to be showing, you could, I could have made them show actually. I could have done this next step and done the brads right through it all. So now we have that. So I want to put these to the side, and I'm going to take your pick tool, and I just want to push down in that center. I want to make sure that that's as flat as can be, because we are going to be attaching this to the back piece. Okay. So we are going to be attaching this to the back piece, and somehow this got a little kitty wampus. I am going to take, once again, my tear and tape. And we are just going to put that all the way around. Once again, this is one of those projects. Use your tear and tape, guys. Tear and tape is your friend. I'm going to put this right over those so they don't have a tendency of poking through at all. Let's get that rubbed down really good and take those up, and then we can put them onto our base and we can finish up our insides. Oops. Let's get this up. Okay. Right side up, we want, oh, I have no idea why that didn't fold. There we go. Careful not to get your fingers on the back of this. And now you could make this border as big as you wanted or as small as you want. So you just adjust your paper sizes. But I like it that you have a pretty big size there. Okay, we're going to bend this back on that score line. So it goes, it really wasn't a score line, but that's where it bent, right along the designer series paper there. We could leave it as it is, but oh no, we have to add more. So I'm going to grab some pieces of basic white, and I am just going to set these in here and put them inside. Now these measure 4 by 5 1/4. You could do them at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and these will just slide right in. Here's our pocket opening. Okay, but I wanted to show you, we need 3 of these, and this is where you're going to slide your photos in. If you're going to make this an autograph book, you could just write autographs across the top, and then as they fill them, they can fill it out themselves or put pictures and do journaling. But I want to decorate this just a tad bit more right along this edge. So along that edge, we have a choice. We can either do the Poppy Parade along the edge, or we could do our basic black. I want to do Poppy Parade, and our ribbon that I'm going to be using today does measure, I believe, 1 inch, or if it's not 1 inch, it's 7/8. So I want my piece to be the same length this way. So we want to make sure that that is at 5 5/8. Wanted to make sure. Now I want it to fit on this little ledge here, and that's about 3/4 inch, but we're going to do it 1 inch because we're going to have it come right to the end. So we want to line this up on that line. And I am hoping that my ribbon isn't too thick. So I want this just like that, but I'm going to line it up, and it's not quite 1 inch. So I'm thinking my white ribbon is going to be too thick for that. We're doing it 3/4. Well, no, we'll do it 1/16 over 3/4 inch. I think that's going to give us the perfect width. Yes, it is. Okay, so just line that up. I see that I'm going to have to trim it a little bit because I want it the length of the black. So that's like that. So our frayed ribbon is going to be too wide. It's going to cover up this whole piece, which isn't a bad thing, but I kind of wanted to see that. So let's grab, this is from the pack that has the green checked ribbon, and I can't remember what it is right now. So we're going to use that. So let me cut our ribbon just a little bit longer. And I'm going to use my tape runner for that. We're going to go ahead and wrap it around the back. just like this. So we have that nice cute border, but I wanted to add this on there and a ribbon. So before I add that, I'm actually going to lay it down on here. So we do want it to be long enough so we can make a bow. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it in the center. So I just kind of estimate my center is going to be about right here. I'm just going to tie a bow just like this, just by tying it like this. Just like I'm wrapping it into a knot. Okay, let's make those little ears a little bit shorter. But we do need them a little bit longer than normal because I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, so a little bit longer and tie again. So that's going to tie a knot. That's going to hold that bow right there. Okay, tie it really tight. You know, we always say tie those bows tight. I guess it could have been a little bit shorter there, but it's okay. Let's wrap this down. I'm going to take a little glue dot and put it in the center there so it holds that ribbon. Okay, you know, my take your pick tool is a lot bigger than my piercing tool. Oh, it's right next to my piercing tool. And I always lose my take your pick tool. It's right here on my desk, but I'm always losing it. Okay, we're just going to put that in the center just to hold that ribbon. Okay, now we're going to take another glue dot and we are going to put it in the center. We are going to hold that bow down there just like that. And then we're going to wrap it to the back. And I am going to use my tear and tape to hold that down. Don't use Scotch tape. You know, we've told you guys. And I'm going to put it in an angle because I cut it just a little bit long. And then I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to take the other side and wrap it to the back. Cut it off. Get my tear and tape. We're going to secure this down with tear and tape, or probably dimensionals actually. I think I'm going to use dimensionals, but we want this down there really good. How many of you are watching those Olympics? I watched a little bit last night. I am not one to watch TV, so I may have it on the background listening to it, but my TV downstairs does not have an antenna to it, so I only get things like Netflix. Okay, we're just going to tie this right here and attach it right along the edge of the designer series paper because that's where our fold is going to be. Okay, so that's so far. What do you guys think so far? Yay or nay? Okay, I am thinking that that might be it for this one. I think that's going to be enough for Sam. She is not one for too many frilly things on there. So she's going to be able to stick a photo in here. Let me see, this should fit down in there. And slide it down in there. So she'd have a photo in here. And then open this up and be able to have photos in there. And like I said, I wouldn't do 4 to 5 envelopes, I think, are big enough or thick enough. But this is not made to be like a really thick album. But so that is our mini album for tonight. Our Thursday's Tools and Techniques, a day late. Now, I promised you in the beginning that I was going to show you one that I made years and years ago. Now, this one is like 21 years old, 22 years old. So this is one, and this is, we just wheeled on here, did this, like I said. We used a window sheet instead, but for this one, I had used a window sheet, but when the kids did it, we used our clear envelopes, a little bit more there. And then we stamped on the inside, planning for them to use their little school pictures if they got them, or to crop down or use it as an album for their friends. So gives you guys another idea. This is quick and easy using some products that have just been released. And once again, I think this would be adorable in the Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, any of our colors, because black and white goes with anything. Okay. So Marilyn, you have not been watching the Olympics yet. Oh, I watched some ice skating last night. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight and look forward to making them. And so if you do make this album, please share my Facebook page, and I'll have a little treat for you if you do, okay? So until next time, everybody, happy stamping. Bye-bye.